Okay, we're here. So last night got out here a little bit later. Wasn't too bad. Had a little bit of time actually yet. You know, I didn't want to just sit in my hotel room all evening. So after I got my license and tags, I decided to do some driving around and just check some of these areas out, see what it looks like, and came across a couple bucks out on the edges of public. Just seeing them from the road and seeing some does. This morning, wanted to do some driving around and see if there's any pressure in some of these areas. There's like none. I saw one truck out of like, I don't know, 30 parking lots I checked. So I feel really good about this week that I chose, you know, a week before I think most of the outer staters are coming out here to really be hunting that first week in November. So dude, I'm pumped. I saw probably 25 deer. I mean, pretty well all does and little bucks out along some of the public here this morning in some of these cut bean fields and stuff, and it's just like, this is another world out here compared. I mean, you just frankly don't see that in Ohio. It just doesn't happen. So to say the least, I'm fired up. We're gonna run back and we're gonna start checking some spots out. Basically, I'm gonna be carrying my bow with me, obviously, but really all I'm doing is bringing a backpack, a couple cameras, you know, running my Onyx, and we're gonna be just trying to find spots that I feel like we have an opportunity tomorrow and Thursday. We have a weird wind today. It's a straight east wind, and tomorrow's gonna be a northeast, and then it's gonna switch to a straight north for Thursday, and then by Friday a straight west. So, you know, I feel like if we, you know, say we would bump one today, decent chance that deer's going to bed in the same spot tomorrow yet, with it being a northeast. And then we'll kind of have to probably make adjustments for Thursday, but I am super excited. So let's get out there. Okay. Finally found the first real cover that's intriguing to me. Kind of walked the perimeter of it. Found some trails coming out. Found one little scrape. And then here I just found a big rub. Pretty decent sized sapling there, but we're kind of in a corner here, close to private. There's a tree stand right here, a little ladder. So I don't love that. Not really sure what I want to do. I think I'm gonna make a line up this property line up here, and then see if I can find any major routes where deer are coming out of the bedding onto private at night. I just really haven't found what I'm looking for yet. And I'm going to be honest, coming from Ohio, it's a good chance I way overthink this stuff. And it's a lot easier than what I think it's going to be, but just haven't really seen much. Here's another little rub. Haven't seen that much that really gets me going yet, so we'll see. I've only got 6 sits including this evening, so I want to make them count. Okay, I finally found what I'm looking for. I found this giant hub scrape. It's been a while since I've seen anything like this. I was coming down this bottom and I seen this tree. It's like a Osage or a hackberry. I'm not a hackberry, but yeah, it's an Osage orange or something. Huckleberry maybe. Frankly, I'm not sure. Kind of a weird little bush, but I've seen these before, and there's always scrapes underneath them. And I seen this thing from 100 yards off, and I'm like, there's gonna be a giant scrape there. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scrapes here. Some are, haven't been opened up in a couple days. One over there has been hit. This one here is pretty fresh. This is more of a, don't quite make sense, but yeah, they're just coming up out of this bottom, which is private, and they're coming up and hitting this. Super cool. Almost impossible to hunt with the winds that I have this week. Not sure that I'm gonna be able to hunt it at all, but I am gonna put a camera on it to just see what's in the area, and if it's, if they're hitting this in daylight or not, because there is some fringe stuff around here that I could hunt, and then as soon as I get it solid west, I think I could hit it as well. So, but it looks like freaking cows down here. It's unbelievable. Super excited about this now. So need to figure out a spot to put my camera and then get out of here because my wind's blowing right down towards the bedding. So, but this does confirm kind of the things that I've been trying to piece together. I've been walking a lot of the high topography, and that's where a lot of these ag fields are at. And a lot of the ag is out on private, and as soon as I get out in any kind of cover, just stands everywhere I find cameras. It feels like really pressured hard. But deep into this public is a river system, and so I find, at least in Ohio, some of these areas, guys they're not used to hunting river stuff or low-lying stuff, and they just don't know where you even start. And I think it freaks them out. And so oftentimes I'll find the deer bedding in this low stuff, and I think that's what's happening here. So this is the first real sign that I've seen. I'm like, you find a couple random little scrape or a little rub and just some random stuff, and I bumped a couple little bucks and some does, but just nothing that got me excited. And this is one of those spots where right here I can tell you everything that's bedded down in that bottom. So super excited. Well, they did what I figured, but it was a doe. So maybe I did just bump a doe yesterday morning and thought it was a buck or something. I don't know. It was kind of out here by itself, and it sounded like a big deer. So I assumed it was a buck. Didn't blow, it just kind of bounded away like a buck would. But and that's not to say it wasn't a buck, but that was some tight quarters there. That was 5 yards. I mean, she about shit her pants, I think. I scared the crap out of her. I think I put on close to 15 miles in the last 2 days, so I'm starting to feel it. Bottoms up. saw a giant 160 all day. He's locked down with a doe. They're down in this creek. The problem is, they're basically downwind of me. Now, I mean, I don't think he's gonna catch me. He's far enough down over, but I can't grunt at him or anything. He's not gonna come up, so my only hope is that the doe drags him up here, but he was 100% locked down with her. I can't believe that. That was a monster. Okay, so a little bit of an update. Pretty slow morning. Ended up as I was tearing down, had a little buck come in yet, but nothing big. Walking out of there, cameras everywhere. There's all kinds of people that were hunting that, so all makes sense. I am right now working on gathering up all my cameras that I put out in the last couple days. And I'm going to try to get all those gathered up here over lunch. And then we're diving back in to where we encountered the big deer last night. I just didn't think I'd get in there this morning without just blowing everything up. So we're going to try to hunt it tonight. And then we got a wind switch coming again tomorrow morning. So if we don't get it done this evening, we got a west wind tomorrow. And then I'll be able to hunt that in the morning. So that is the game plan. It is interesting though, the longer I hunt this, the more I feel like I'm learning. At least on this particular piece, the deer, they don't use the ridges like we do at home. And it may just maybe because of the pressure on public, but they seem to be down in these bottoms where it's a little bit more cover, and I'm just not seeing, whether it's pictures or even visual sightings, all the bucks, even like this morning, those does came up over the top like I figured they would, and then the buck was down over the hill on the bottom. So just kind of interesting to note that. For myself in the future, if I ever come back to this piece, or potentially even some others, out here. So, yeah, it's been a fun trip. Still got 2 sits to go, but starting to miss the family, the kids, and gonna try to make the most of it on this big deer that I encountered last night, and then get out of here. So. It's 20 after 5. Got about, down here in this bottom, 45-50 minutes of legal left. Haven't seen a deer all night, so I'm not sure what to think. It could be that we really screwed it up last night, but at the same time,
was some does up top, but, we'll see. Feels really good tonight, but hopefully he comes through yet. Freaking squirrels everywhere, though, my goodness. Okay, it is October 31st, last day of October. It's hard to believe. It's been a weird year for me having killed opening day or opening weekend like that. In a sense, it's felt long, but in a sense, it also has been like, man, October's already over. So it's been a fun trip. I learned a ton figuring this piece out, and the deer that I did see, seeing what they're doing in response to some of the pressure. Also, learning the behavior of other hunters on public. All the, obvious stuff is pretty well picked through. You have cameras on. A lot of the, you go on a map and, well, this looks good. You're just gonna throw it up. It wasn't until I just started looking in the opposite places of, everything I'd marked on the map, frankly, that I started finding deer. And I think, going forward is something that I can use to help pick apart other pieces on public. So it's the last set this morning. Probably sit till 9:30 or so, and then pack it up and head out. So. I just saw a pretty decent buck. I was on the phone with my buddy Chris discussing the shot. And this little buck worked up around me, up onto the private, and was heading that direction. And all of a sudden I look up and I thought I saw that deer, but I'm like, that body looks bigger. So I threw my binocs up and, oh my gosh, right there he is.
Oh, there's so little penetration. No. I don't know. I got 3-4 inches of penetration probably. Arrow's still in him. Okay, I'm up on top of the hill here where I have service, so I'm talking to a few people, sent it to one of my buddies, and yeah, penetration isn't great at all. Either he's dead just right up into private there, or he's totally fine. I'm shooting that beast, and you know, they preach that the blades can kind of close to be able to get that little bit of extra penetration on shots like that, but I don't know. He definitely seemed hurt the way he was walking off. He ran 50 yards and then just walked out of there. My buddy Chris, he also, you know, he heart shot a buck a couple years ago, pure pass through, and that deer literally walked uphill 60, close to 100 yards and then fell over dead. So they can do it. I don't know. I do not know how to feel. Instant reaction is the deer's fine, but I don't know. I don't know. It's sick. I hate that. I preach, I do these recoveries and I preach to guys, dude, do not crowd the shoulder. And then, I go and do the same thing. So disgusting, but don't know. So the consensus is that he's either dead pretty well right after I seen him, or he's not. So with him being on private, I'm gonna go up into the ditch as far as I can go and look up in there and see if I can see him laying there. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't feel good about it at all. I feel really bad about it. It makes me sick to hurt a deer like that and not make a good shot. Like I said, it's something I preach to guys all the time about not crowding that shoulder, and there we are. So right here's where he crossed the fence. I mean, just tiny little pin pricks of blood, which is to be expected with that type of shot, but that makes me feel like it's not a lethal hit at all. Last would have seen him just right up in there. Okay, so we got permission from the landowner. This property is being leased, so I came over here to talk to the guy that leases this, and he's actually going to help me go down and look, and hopefully we can get him out with a side-by-side. That would be a lifesaver. So he's talking to a guy right now, so as soon as he's finished, we'll head on back and see if we can't find this buck.
That's the last.
You have it down there, or
I'm just looking for it now. It's stopped. So you just put up.
Well, he's still alive. We tracked that deer 300 yards. There's times he bled decent, and then, you know, you'd struggle to find something, you find a drop, and then you find a little bit more, and tracked him 300 and finally lost blood. Really, there's nothing else to hit there other than heart. And if I didn't get heart, then, you know, with a heart shot, he would have died within 300 yards pretty easily. So I, you know, got a hold of the manager there on the property, and he said he'll keep an eye out. You know, if he happens to come across him, he'll let me know. But I really feel like that deer's alive and fine, unfortunately. It makes me sick. I hate hurting a deer like that and not making a clean, ethical shot. But it happens. I mean, if you hunt long enough, it's bound to happen. Yeah, not really sure what else to say. That concludes my 2025 Illinois trip. I doubt I'll be back out this year. Got a lot of work lined up here over the next month and a half, so got to get back and get to work. So I appreciate you guys watching. Click like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.